Everyone. I hope you can hear me. It looks like our stream got suspended. What did we do? Um, um, okay. Everyone, I'm just going to wait until we can go to the new stream. Okay, let me send out a link to the new stream, and okay, so now we'll just wait for everyone to come, and then we'll have to wait for Janet. Okay, so now we'll just. Okay, here is the link to the new stream. Please, everyone. Okay, no, everyone just come to the new stream. We'll wait. Mother of God, this was weird. Okay, please tell me why you keep doing this. This is driving me nuts and I can't figure out why you're doing this. Okay, now we're gonna have to wait for. Now we're gonna have to wait for Janet, but I guess this stream is suspended. Yeah, Bane got our stream suspended apparently. Has this. Why do you say Liberia? I just need to figure this out. It's driving me nuts. You do it every time and it drives me nuts. Okay, so can you guys bring all the other people out from the other stream, please? Okay. We lost about 20 people. Damn it. We were not watching a movie. We were doing a very good clip that was clearly fair use. Okay. So, let's see. What are we going to do? Okay. While we're waiting for Janet, we'll do some hot takes on Twitter. Let's see. What's the first hot take we should do? Oh, yeah. Well, just send some hot takes. Okay, Janet's here. Okay. So, can you hear me, Janet? What should we? Yeah, apparently it detects. Okay. Oh, what's like? What like? Okay, yeah. Actually, if you can put the link to that, I would really appreciate it. That was the dumbest thing. Okay. So yeah, please share the link. How do I make somebody else the mod? I'll have to figure this out. Because I don't know what it was. It's Arif from Liberia. Okay, so Janet is going to be seen on screen for a quick minute.
Okay, I think I don't have to be made mod. I think I can just share the video, but do you want me to just start it after the Bane stuff?
Yes, please cut the Bane stuff and let's start it there.
Okay, so it's just going to be sloppy for a second because I'm going to have to like move it. So
that's fine. We can wait. We made something cool, so you look like a little logo on the side. So in the meanwhile, No, Jink does not want to align the right. He is an Armenian genocide denier who's vicious. In fact, he went and campaigned so that the Armenian Students Association at UPenn would not get $200 a semester. So he's a vile creature. I think he's just losing a lot of subs for being just a hot take express. Oh, by the way, check out my video where I do a cringe take of Anna like being mean to homeless people and wanting to forcibly relocate them. Yeah, so Jink and Anna are super cringe.
Okay, I think I can share it because I can share it as a window.
Okay, perfect.
Play it for my thing. So you let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready right now.
Okay. So you might want to go mute.
Myself?
Yeah. If I can find it. Okay, here it is. And I'm starting it. All right, why won't you start? Why? Where the hell do I start it from? Sorry. Why am I not seeing the start thing? Yeah, damn it. I might have to do it.
I saw the video, Janet.
I know, but for some reason I can't find the start button when I pull it up. Okay,
I'm still banned till 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, so there is no TikTok until tomorrow, and I might be banned further. I don't know. The right wingers usually get you banned. Okay, somebody said hit the space bar, Janet.
Yeah, it was just, you know what it was? It was because the stupid hide thing was hiding where I got to do it. So I'll hit the space bar. Ready?
You should pay me $10. Somebody please give me a super chat.
Why is this
not you? Come on. Well, actually, John's already paid a lot on super chat, so thank you so much. Okay, Jacobin is funded by like some NED thingy. Today I saw somebody take a screenshot of Jacobin where they're accused the entity of Putin-style meddling. And I was like, Americans, when they see something Americanly happening, oh, thank you so much, Jamie Brown. This is so sweet and adorable. Thank you. I needed it. Thank you so much. And no, John. Thank you, though. This is so sweet. I should not have. I made a little snide remark because of this.
All right, you ready?
Jacobin is charging $4.99 for their pro. I'm ready. Whenever you're ready, just cut me off and put it in. I'm just like yapping to waste time.
Okay. All right. I think if I just hit the thing, and then we both need to go mute too.
Okay. Yeah, Jacobin is funded by Every Goal.
No, it won't let me. I'm hitting the space bar. It's not going. It's under the stupid thing. Oh, I can move it. Ooh, okay. Here we go.
It seemed like the right wingers failed because they tried to make Bernie as Bane, but then they made Bernie seem cooler than he actually was. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we've definitely seen that over the last several months. Like we all thought, oh, Bernie's this revolutionary. He wants to lead us into the revolution. It's like, no, Bernie, what are you doing, buddy?
You should listen to him very carefully.
I know, right?
Said he was going to lead. He said that when millions of people get together, we will form up. And he always said that. He's like, it's not me, us. He's never said he was going to lead us, if you remember. He's like, and that part I appreciate because he's explained, he straight up explained to people that the system's so ossified that even if you want like a mild social reform like Medicare for all, you need a revolution. Like that is the one thing I appreciate. He actually told people the truth, and he's right.
Yeah.
Because it's like a, what do you call it? What Jenga piece where you are trying to pull out. So it's that's the sport, right? That's the game, right? Jenga.
Yeah, Jenga.
Yeah. So
you actually take out the little wood pieces and put them on top.
So I appreciate that he kind of told the truth with that, because like. So he's right. Like, so yes, but he gave a lot of people a starting point. So that I am grateful for, but I think that there's not enough wisdom in the culture that a lot of people know to go to the right place, if that makes sense. And it's like they have control over every single thing in the world, the police, the radio, I mean, literally, like they not for in your world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons why I read so much like abolitionist feminism too, like Angela Davis and Zyla Eisenstein and so forth.
No, seriously, in the left, every American is a loser. So in America, you have been taught a lot of jingoism. So I personally think that you should not read any American because all of them are losers. No, seriously, they are by definition losers because, I mean, what have they done? Nothing. We live in the worst, like things are getting worse and worse. So
I can't argue with that.
I don't feel like there's any winners in feminism, though, all throughout the world.
I disagree. Ludmila Pavlichenko, she killed 400 Nazis with her hands. Oh, and then she like
what?
How is that feminism? Like
because she killed Nazis. It's good. Nazis are bad for women.
No, that's good. That's a woman doing something good. That's not feminism, though. That's
okay. And then
all I'm saying is I don't think that we have any. I mean, obviously, we're sitting here under Andrew Cuomo, sitting there saying
he's my governor.
Yeah, and him saying, "Oh, they're all just lying," and people buying into that, like people covering for him. And I don't feel like there's any winners in feminism like anywhere. Like ever since, like Sylvia Federici does her whole thing, like the whole witch trials, all the witch trials and all that. That was to put women in their place again. Like it kind of corresponded with the African slavery coming over here. They did the witch trial, like it was, it started kind of before that, but I mean, it's a whole, they were trying to put the people they needed to in place in order for the birth of capitalism. That's what I feel. That's how I see it.
Okay, I guess. Okay, in that case,
I can see that argument.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. I thought it was like some sort of like anti-indigenous racism, but then you're right. A lot of the people who were tried weren't just were white women, or were whiteness wasn't there yet, but British descended women. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense now. So I guess I can see this. And I guess that's why, like, I don't know, for me, like feminism did not really hold that much of an appeal because what I saw was a lot of bad justifications for imperialism. Have we done political agitation from a class point of view yet, Janet?
No, we have definitely not done that one.
Let's do that.
Okay.
And the paper, okay. So it's Moskovia Vedomosti. It's Moskovskaya Vedomosti. But I'll say it. It doesn't matter.
Let's start from the beginning?
Yep.
Okay. Let us begin with an illustration. The reader will remember the sensation that was created by the speech delivered by M.A. Stankovich
Okay, so he was the he was okay. So or Ariel Gobierna is like a state back then, and he was the head of all the inbred royals from that state.
Inbred royals, fun times. Right.
Yeah.
Marshal of the nobility of Ariel Gobierna. Is that? Okay.
Yeah, Gubernia is like basically like a state, like governate or whatever.
It's kind of like gubernatorial.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
At a missionary congress in the course of which he urged that freedom, I'm going to say that's supposed to be of conscious be recognized by law.
Yep.
Okay. The conservative press led by
Moskovsky. No, okay. It says Moskovskymi Vedomostmi. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Is conducting a furious campaign against Mr. Statkovich. They cannot find names vile enough with which to call him, and almost go so far as to accuse the entire Oral nobility of high treason for having reelected Mr. Statkovich as marshal. Now, this reelection is indeed very significant, and to a certain degree, it bears the character of a demonstration of the nobility against police tyranny and outrage.
Yep.
Statkovich says that, I'll let you say that.
In Moskovsky Vedomosti,
is not so much marshal of the nobility as the, say, Misha's.
By gay, Lenin, hold on. Okay.
There's like spaces in weird places.
I know, this is why the typos. Okay, let me give you this one. But let me just say, okay, I'll actually get my Russian teacher to say this just in case I'm going to mispronounce it.
Не столько предводитель дворянства, сколько Миша Стахович, весельчак, душа общества, краснобай.
Okay, so it says like not so much the leader of the nobility as Misha Stakovich, but a merry fellow, a soul of society, a talker. Okay, go ahead.
So as they say like the life and soul of the party, the clever conversationalist. So much the worse for you, gentlemen, defenders of the bludgeon. If even our jovial landlords begin to talk about freedom of conscience, then the infamies of the priests and the police must verily be without number. What is our intellectual, frivolous crowd that instigates and plods to Statkovich's care for the affairs of our sacred Orthodox faith and our time-honored attitude towards it? Once again, so much the worse for you, gentlemen, champions of the autocracy, the Orthodox faith and the national essence. A fine system indeed our police-ridden autocracy must be, and that it has permeated even religion with the spirit of the prison cell, so that the Statkoviches who have no firm convictions in matters of religion, but who are interested, as we shall see, in preserving a stable religion, become utterly indifferent, if not actually hostile, to this notorious national faith.
Okay, let me just hold on. This is really funny because so the national faith. So the Tsar was a psychotic anti-Semite, and he had the official religion was the Russian Orthodox Church. So that was a national faith. But what I love about it is that this is literally all the American Christians, literally the same thing, but gone. And that's what you notice more and more.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. They call our faith a delusion. They mock at us because, thanks to this delusion, we fear and try to avoid sin, and we carry out our obligations uncomplainingly, no matter how severe they may be, because we find the strength and courage to bear sorrow and privations and forbear pride in times of success and good fortune.
Okay, this guy is a member of the nobility or the royal family or hereditary aristocracy who's saying this nonsense. Okay, go on.
So the Orthodox faith is dear to them because it teaches people to bear misery uncomplainingly. What a profitable faith it is indeed for the governing classes.
Exactly. It is a very profitable faith. And you tell poor people to bear misery complainingly. Yeah. Okay.
This is why I hate religion.
Well, you shouldn't hate all religion. No, I mean, you shouldn't. Okay, so religion, like man makes God in his image. So what you'll see is that when you change the society, the religion magically transforms itself. So what you'll notice is the difference between Pope Francis and the previous psycho. I can't remember his name, but the
Benedict.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Well, it's basically that. Like Pope Francis grew up under the liberation theology, and it's kind of funny because the Catholic Church had two different roles. Like in South America and Central America, it was very liberatory to the point where Ronald Reagan's death squads literally had a slogan that says "Be a patriot, kill a priest," because and on the other flip coin, in Croatia, the Catholic Church were complete genocidal maniacs who were in bed with the Ustazi, and they did everything you can think of, like that, like every kind of genocide, like the worst things you can think of. So
they didn't have a problem with that, I'm sure.
No. I'm just saying that, like, religion itself is not. It changes. So society, religion is a mirror of society. Is what I'm saying. Don't hate the society that creates that religion.
That's an excellent point. Thank you.
That's what I was trying to get to. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me see, where was I?
So
we had to,
profitable.
Yeah.
Faith is very.
We had to be. Yeah.
Go ahead.
What a profitable faith it is indeed for the governing classes. In a society so organized that an insignificant minority enjoys wealth and power, while the masses constantly suffer privations and bear severe obligations. It is quite natural for the exploiters to sympathize with a religion that teaches people to bear uncomplainingly the hell on earth for the sake of an alleged celestial paradise. Oh, yes, of course. But in its zeal,
Moskovsky Vedomosti
became too garrulous. So garrulous, in fact, that unwittingly it spoke the truth. We read on. They do not suspect that if they, the Staskoviches, eat well, sleep peacefully, and live merrily, it is thanks to this delusion.
Exactly. So this is kind of like the New York Times once in a while accidentally tells the truth. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember when the last time they did it, Janet?
Told the truth?
The New York Times accidentally kind of like, oh, Trump once did it, like where he's like, we're invading Venezuela for its oil or something.
It's always fun when they do that. When it's like us. You just say out loud what you're not supposed to say out loud?
Yeah.
That's the quiet part.
Yeah, exactly. That was the biggest problem. Like Trump would say things like, we're invading Venezuela for its oil as opposed to freedom and democracy.
Right. It's like, oh, we're staying in Syria to protect the oil fields. We're just going to be over here by the oil fields. Just so we all know. Like, we're going to get out of Syria, but, we're going to stick by the oil. That's our territory now. Just so we all know. It's insanity the way that it's like, okay, we get it.
Elon Musk said that you
oh my god, yeah, so Bolivia
country that we can coup a country for his lithium.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he said that about Bolivia because who was it? Evo Morales. When after the coup against him, he was doing an interview and he said that the reason for the whole coup was because they wanted the lithium. And so when that came out, Elon Musk said, like, we can coup whatever country we want to.
Jesus Christ, what a psycho. Oh, and his dad owned emerald mines in Zambia or something like that. I forgot how. Yeah, like he's like born with, like his dad had emerald mines. So it's like, okay, anything you make up is bullshit because of your dad.
He's a white South African.
Who's the dad? Okay, there's a white South African and there's a white South African whose dad owned emerald mines. Like most normal white South Africans are just normal people, like poor people, right? Like there's a huge difference there.
That's true. He's definitely of the upper class.
His dad, upper class is, his dad had an emerald mine.
Yeah.
So.
the sacred truth. Sorry, the sacred truth. This is precisely the case. It is because religious delusions are so widespread among the masses that the Stakoviches and Oblomos and all our capitalists and all our capitalists who live by the labor of the masses, and even Moskov. I'm going to try this. Moskovsky Vedomosti.
Okay, actually, you should do. Yeah. Go ahead.
Itself sleep peacefully, and the more education spreads among the people, this is so true. And the more education spreads among the people, the more will religious prejudices give way to socialist consciousness. The nearer will be the day of victory for the proletariat, and the victory that will emancipate all the oppressed classes from the slavery they endure in modern society. This is so true, because so often, like, you hear this now even with Nancy Pelosi, talking about, like, oh no, we don't need to cancel student debt. Because, if somebody decides, they don't want to go to college, their parents are going to be a little upset about, their money going to canceling another student's debt.
Okay, Chuck Grassley did that.
Oh my God.
Today too, and I'm like, okay, here is Alan Greenspan. Janet put this part. Okay, Chuck Grassley did this, and here is Alan Greenspan explaining how the U.S. government can always print money, and the other guys like telling him, like the other guys like, haha, you gave up the game.
Right.
The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that. So there is zero probability of default.
Right. It's like honestly, you don't need a college degree to succeed. Like you can't have a stable life without a college education. But the fact that they're trying to make the barrier to education so fucking difficult for people. And that just shows, like, no, they need a labor class. They need to have somebody that they can exploit. If we keep people uneducated, and now that is something that one of my professors when I was in college, when I was doing American government, she was quite radical. And that's something that she told us, was that whenever they created the Department of Education in the 1960s, one of its clear goals, or like one of its mission statements, was that the Department of Education in the United States was supposed to make sure that the protests that happened in the United States during the 1960s never happened again. That was the whole purpose. And the thing that she told us was
propaganda.
Basically, their entire raison d'etre was to treat Americans like mushrooms.
Huh?
In the dark, treat us like mushrooms. Keep us in the dark and feed us shit.
Basically, yeah, that's basically what everything Americans know is, and she's 100% right. That's why I tell it, like, yeah, and they can do that because you only have to, most people don't open the hood of their car unless their car breaks down, and if your car is never broken down, you've never need to open the hood to see how it's functioned, right?
So true. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right.
It's kind of funny because I'm following, since I'm learning Russian, I'm like following it along in Russian too. So mostly for the pronunciation, and it's kind of funny how each week when I do that, like, I understand more.
That's awesome.
Go ahead.
Great. But having blurted out the truth on one point, Moskovsky, I just put you down.
Okay, let's go. Moskovsky Vedomosti. But it's the wrong tense.
I'm gonna get it.
No, you don't get it. Like it means Moscow truth or something stupid like that. Like, it's really it literally means Moscow truth. Like, it's kind of like I don't know, like Chicago. Like, it's the name of the newspaper. Like, but you know what really irritates me though is when you see Lenin trolling a newspaper, and then you see that the newspaper still exists and it did not get shut down by the Soviet government, and you're like, oh my God, not authoritarian enough. Like, this one actually still exists today. And then there's another one called Ruskaya Bogotsava, which means Russian wealth, and it drives me. And Alexei Navalny gets to write editorials in Ruskaya, like that one just drives me nuts. It's like, why did they should so like if the Soviets really did everything they were accused of, it would have been great, but they didn't. Not that. That's one of the. It's a secret. It's one of those triggers. Yeah.
By having blurted out the truth on one point, they dispose far too easily of another interesting point. It is obviously mistaken in believing that the Stavkoviches do not realize the significance of religion and that they demand liberal forms out of sheer thoughtlessness. Such an interpretation of a hostile political trend is too childishly naive. Hold
on. Can we repeat that again? Repeat that once more.
Such an interpretation of a hostile...
No. Let's go one more. It is obviously...
It is obviously mistaken in believing that the Stavkoviches do not realize the significance of religion, that they demand liberal forms out of sheer thoughtlessness.
Okay, so this is the same thing. We should just replace this with AOCs and the significance of not doing crap with the housing crisis because they are stupid or whatever. Well, I mean, they are stupid, but it doesn't matter that why they're doing it. It's like, seriously, like, don't pamper the squad anymore. Stop.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's just cuddle them into submission, guys. Let's do that. Like, such an interpretation of a hostile political trend is too childishly naive.
Bingo. Okay. Such an interpretation of a hostile to you political trend is very childishly naive. Don't do it anymore. Okay, go ahead.
The fact that in this instance, Mr. Stavkovich came forward as advocate of the entire liberal trend was proved best of all by Muskovsky. Okay, so
okay, hold on.
I'm gonna get this right eventually.
No. Let me just quickly teach you what it is. Okay, Moscow is a city, right? So Skaya or Sky, depending on if it's Skaya or so, you just add the city like Moscow, Skaya. That means Muscovite, like somebody from Moscow. So just that's what it is.
Okay. So it's Moskovsky.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Moskovsky, but the mosque itself. Otherwise, what need was there for waging such a campaign against a single speech? What need was there for speaking not about Stavkovich, but about the Stavkoviches, about the intellectual crowd?
Yeah, so he means like all the people, like we say this sometimes in English.
Are we punching down instead of punching up?
Yeah, like Pelosi's. We say that. Go ahead.
Moskovsky Vedomostny's error was, of course, deliberate. That paper is more unwilling than it is unable to analyze the liberalism it based from the class point of view.
Unwilling, correct. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It does not desire to do so. That it does not desire to do so goes without saying, but its inability to do so interests us very much more, because this is a complaint that even very many revolutionaries and socialists suffer from. Thus, the author of the letter published in number 12 of Iskra, who accused us of departing from the class point of view, for striving in our newspaper to follow all manifestations of liberal discontent and protest, suffer from this complaint, as do also the authors of
okay, so this is yeah, exactly. Borba, which means fight.
Proletaskaya Barba, and of several pamphlets in the Social Democratic Library, who imagine that our autocracy represents the absolutist rule of the bourgeoisie. Likewise, the Martinovs,
Martinov is probably like the AOC. There's a lot of AOCs in Tsarist Russia, so you know this is like the AOC Ilhan Omar of Tsarist Russia. Oh, go ahead.
And so the Martinovs, who seek to persuade us to abandon the many-sided campaign of exposure,
i.e.
the widest possible political agitation against the autocracy, and to concentrate our efforts mainly upon the struggle for economic reforms, to give us something positive to the working class, to put forward in its name concrete demands for legislative and administrative measures which promise certain palpable results. Which is so interesting because that's almost sounds like he's trying to make an argument for like intersectionality of, the fact that we have to kind of come at it from multiple fronts and not just one direction.
That's literally the thesis of what is to be done is against economism, which means like just like striking with your employer and getting concessions from your employer to like a because back then there were too many different groups. The Mensheviks thought that the liberal, like the bourgeoisie, would be able to overthrow the czar and the workers should just kind of concentrate on making life better for themselves. And Lenin's like, don't be stupid. The liberals are never going to overthrow the czar because they're they're bloody cowards. And so that's like, that was like a big debate between 1900 and 1905. And Lenin's right. Because if you let the liberals.
Oh my God. And that's kind of why it's so silly to hear, like you see, like somebody was talking about on Twitter, like, oh, Lenin would have voted for Biden. Like,
no, Lenin would have had a bloody revolution.
Exactly.
Okay. She's a Demsap, and I just said, what kind of idiot cannot imagine? Even has such a lack of imagination that they can't imagine Lenin not having a revolution.
Right.
Yeah,
Lenin, the guy who overthrew the Romanovs. You think he would vote for Biden?
No.
Are you out of your freaking mind?
Storming? Yeah, no, I know. So because that's what we call lack of imagination. It's really stupid. Lack of because they don't understand. But yeah, and this is also another thing is that all these stupid ideas that the other day I made a thing that said if they have not overthrown the czar and fought 14 countries, don't listen to them. And it's like somebody's like, oh my God, you're supporting Jimmy Dore. I was like, no, this is not Jimmy Dore here.
This has nothing to do with Jimmy Dore.
I know, but these people are crazy, and they have to.
All they want to do is make up personalities. That's all this is about.
No, they're not. Like I'm like, this is not Jimmy Dore. This is Vladimir Lenin. But yeah, you should not listen to them but the funny thing is that like you don't have to have these debates on Twitter because this has already been had and we know the right answer to this about 120, 30 years ago. So it's like, that's what irritates me is that the answer is right here and nobody reads it. You don't have to debate this on Twitter. We know the answer and the answer is, or you're wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, so to give something positive to the working class to put forward in its name concrete demands for legislative and administrative measures which promise certain palpable results. Likewise, too, the Nadezhins?
Nadezhins. He was, so he was one of the sellouts, but go ahead.
And likewise, too, the Nadezhins who, on reading the correspondence in our paper on the statistical conflicts, asked in astonishment, good Lord, what is this? A
Zemstvo paper. Yeah, Zemstvo is like a city council, but a village council, actually. Go ahead.
All these socialists forget that the interests of the autocracy coincide only with certain interests of the proper type classes.
Property class, people with property.
Okay. Oh, property. Okay, yeah, so there's some space there.
Yeah, it's a typo.
Yeah. So the interests of the autocracy coincide only with certain interests of the property classes, and only under certain circumstances. Frequently, it happens that its interests do not coincide with the interests of these classes as a whole, but only with those of certain of their strata. The interests of other bourgeois strata and the more widely understood interests of the entire bourgeoisie of the development of capitalism as a whole necessarily give rise to a liberal opposition to the autocracy.
Yeah. You have that's the entire democratic. Well, if you think of the autocracy as maybe like the most reactionary, yeah, you have mild liberal opposition in the beginning, but they always fold. But go ahead.
Right. The interests of, I don't remember where I was. Okay. For instance, I'm at for instance, For instance, the autocracy guarantees the bourgeoisie opportunities to employ the crudest forms of exploitation, but on the other hand, place 1,000 obstacles in the way of the extensive development of the productive forces and the spread of education. In this way, it arouses against itself not only the petty bourgeoisie, but at times even the big bourgeoisie.
Okay, so let me explain what he's talking about. With capital, okay, what people don't realize is that before capitalism, most people are kind of really spread out, and they because you need land, a lot of land to grow your food. And so what happens is that capitalism comes and it just like floods. Capitalism is when you have lots of factories automating lots of like random crap to make. It floods the markets or floods your community with crap. And then it make people, let's say if you used to be a potter, you're going to be out of business because now you have like automatic cups being spit out at like 100-to-1 rate. So when those people go out of business, they're going to go seek for work, and those are the factory workers. And then you're going to have a very, very, very like the population like becomes more. What do you call it? This happens, and they all like smudge together in cities. So, but when it's like
urbanized.
Oh yeah. And so when it's this way, like in Tsarist Russia, there weren't schools in rural area. Literally, there were not schools. So and they also had feudalism, and so the slave owners needed slaves to work on their land. And so it was kind of like a little bit of a fight where the bourgeoisie were like, no, we want these people to be our factories. And the slave owners like, no, we need these slaves to work on our land. And so that's kind of what he was talking about, that because the autocracy was like, I mean, as in the Tsar was like kind of keeping the slaves owners kind of happy. It meant that the bourgeoisie were going to be kind of really annoyed because they need slaves in the city. Go ahead.
So the autocracy guarantees the bourgeoisie protection against socialism. But since the people are deprived of rights, this protection is necessarily transformed into a system of police outrages that rouse the alienation of the entire people.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I mean, like the Tsar gives them a police force and death squad to shoot people, but then it also means it also comes with like these stupid religious idiots who told the bourgeoisie you can't smoke, you can't drink. So he's kind of getting at that. But go on.
What the result of these antagonistic tendencies is, what relative strength of conservative and liberal views or trends among the bourgeoisie obtains at the present moment.
Go ahead.
Among the bourgeoisie obtained at the present moment cannot be learned from a couple of general theses. For this depends on all the special features of the social and political situation at a given moment. To determine this, one must study the situation in detail and carefully watch all the conflicts with the government, no matter by what social stratum they are initiated. Again, kind of talking about kind of a intersectional way of viewing things.
Yeah,
this is so interesting that he's kind of getting into intersectionality.
No. He doesn't kind of. He fully gets into it. Like what you realize is that literally, no, he literally gets fully into it. You'll see. Not even kind of.
Yeah, but definitely the idea that we have to look at all the situations all at once. We can't just look at just one.
Exactly.
Like, we can't just look at one road.
That's exactly what Lenin always says. But go ahead.
That is so interesting to me that we're seeing this even in Lenin. That's exciting.
No. Lenin was super like. What I'm going to say is that you're not actually. No offense, but you're actually not as advanced as what Lenin was 100 years ago.
Hey, I'm not saying I am.
No, not you, but no one in America is as advanced as Lenin was 100 years ago. So you'll be surprised. And this is what a lot of people don't understand is that's why I tell people to read Lenin, because you are much more backwards and you've been unlearned and made stupider. Like not you as personally, but everyone in America.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah. My friend Nick at Fredhampton Leftist, he loves to say this, that America is the most propagandized country. And he is absolutely right.
Well, yeah, and then if you read Lenin, you'll understand why. It has to do with basically how imperialism works. And yeah, you just can't get away with lying to people outside the core imperial core. So but go ahead.
Yeah. It is precisely the class point of view that makes it impermissible for social democrats to remain indifferent to the discontent and the protest of the Stakovicius. The reasoning and activity of the above-mentioned socialists show that they are indifferent to liberalism and thus reveal their incomprehension of the basic theses of the Communist Manifesto, the gospel of international social democracy. Let us recall, for instance, the words that the bourgeoisie itself provides material. That the bourgeoisie itself provides material.
No. Yeah. He means the words of the, for instance, the words of the bourgeoisie itself. Okay, whatever the bourgeoisie say, that provides excellent material to give the proletariat political education. Is what he's trying to say. Okay, go ahead. Oh, but what a better translation would have said.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is kind of getting to like the idea that a lot of even feminist theorists have said for so long is that so much good theory is based off of lived experience, and that's kind of what they're saying here as well. Is that it's that knowledge power is based out of lived experience and not out of not from the upper echelons.
Well, okay. What I'm going to say is that anything you learn in the U.S. Ecosystem is probably utter nonsense. But if you go, if it's in a more organic culture that where the rich don't get to pick who their slaves are, and you didn't have the slave trade and all sorts of things, yes, probably. But yeah, not inside here. Go ahead.
Let us recall, for instance, the words that the bourgeoisie itself provides material for the political education of the proletariat by its struggle for power, by the conflicts of various strata and groups within it, etc. Only in the politically free countries has the proletariat.
Okay, go ahead.
Only in politically free countries has the proletariat easy access to this material, then only to part of it.
Yep.
In enslaved Russia, however, we social democrats must work hard to obtain this material for the working class, i.e. we must ourselves undertake the task of conducting general political agitation, of carrying on a public exposure campaign against the hypocrisy. This task is particularly imperative in periods of political foment. Political ferment.
Actually, let me check. Hold on. Let me just check this. It might have been a typo. It's foment.
Okay, so I was right the first time. The political foment. We must bear in mind that in 1 year of intensified political life, the proletariat can obtain more revolutionary training than in several years of political calm. So true. That is so true. For this reason, the tendency of the above-mentioned socialists consciously or unconsciously to restrict the scope and content of political agitation is particularly harmful. 100%. That's something that my friends and I are always talking about. Is like how quickly we've been radicalized over the last few years with everything that's been going on.
Well, yeah, a lot of it is life because you're not as comfortable as people 20 or 30 years ago, right? So when you combine what you're going through in life with no one responding to it, of course, it's going to make you more and more angry, I guess.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Great. Let us recall also the words that the communists support every revolutionary movement against the existing system. Those words are often interpreted too narrowly and are not taken to imply support for the liberal opposition. It must not be forgotten, however, that there are periods when every conflict with the government arising out of progressive social interests, however small, may under certain conditions of which our support is won, flare up into a general conflagration.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm trying to kind of let that sink in a little bit.
So what he's saying is that sometimes the liberal bourgeoisie can be useful and use them when they're useful. And that makes sense. Like you used, we've done that. Like when Ilhan Omar talked about El Mozote, we're like, yeah, cool. Good job for showing what a psychopath Elliot Abrams is. But we should then remember to remind people that for some odd reason, as a Minnesota City Council representative, she was meeting with the president of Turkey. Like, I don't see many presidents of, like, the Turkish president is not meeting with the New York, like any other city council. There's something weird about the fact that she, so it's like, you kind of have to, the problem is things are useful. A lot of American fan clubs are like, AOC, it's awesome. And now they can't.
Right, that's like, that's where it stops. That's enough.
Yeah, what they don't realize is that you need. Ilhan will be useful again some other time, but But
in the meantime,
I'll remember that she was meeting with Erdogan in 2017 when she was like, and it makes no sense as to why she'd meet with Erdogan. Like why did he care? Like none of it makes sense. But that's a thing for everyone else to Google. Okay.
So suffice it to recall the great social movement, which developed in Russia out of the struggle between the students and the government over academic demands, or the conflict that arose in France between all of the progressive elements and the militarists over a trial in which the verdict had been rendered on the basis of forged evidence.
What he's talking about is the Dreyfus affair. There was this Jewish officer, and basically he was court-martialed for like treason because he was Jewish. And then what happened was that made people really mad at whatever the dickhead in charge in France was. And then 10 years later, he was pardoned. Obviously he was completely anti-Semitic and he didn't do anything. But that's what he's talking about. The Dreyfus affair.
Hence, it is our bounden duty to explain to the proletariat every liberal and democratic protest, to widen and support it with the active participation of the workers, be it a conflict between the Zemstvo,
just like the city council. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Whether it be a conflict between the Zemstvo and the Ministry of the Interior, between the nobility and the police regime of the Orthodox Church.
Okay, so the nobility wanted to probably have sex with lots of child prostitutes, and the Orthodox Church is like, yeah, you can't do that. And that's probably what I'm guessing. My guess is that's usually what the conflicts are between nobilities and the church, right?
Between statisticians and the bureaucrats, between peasants and the Zemstvo officials, between religious sects and the rural police, etc., etc. Those who contemptuously turn up their noses at the slight importance of some of these conflicts or at the hopelessness of the attempts to fan them into a general conflagration do not realize that all-sided political agitation is a focus in which the vital interests of political education of the proletariat coincide with the vital interests of social development as a whole of the entire people, that is, of all its democratic elements.
By democratic elements, he just means everyone who wants to overthrow the Tsar, because the Tsar really sucked. There were a lot of people who might not have wanted socialism, but they totally wanted to overthrow this jackass. So.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I almost feel like this is a good way of almost saying okay, look at what Cori Bush is doing on the Capitol steps. This could be this can be useful to us.
Really.
That I've heard including Athene, who is from the Fred Hampton leftists, and Max Blumenthal talking about this as well. If further left people show up to join Cori Bush, maybe we can turn this into something that's actually useful. I almost feel like this is an argument for that, though.
No, no. Okay. Let me explain. Okay, so no, because what she's doing is performing, and she believes in what we call constitutional illusions. So she is trying to lead people further into the direction of constitutional illusions, and or the belief in us the orderly, legal, judicial system that doesn't really exist, because it doesn't nothing stops Biden from joining anyone he wants to bomb or whatever. So the problem is that what Max Blumenthal did was right in showing that they're being performative, but having people show up to her nonsense performance is not useful, because you don't want to waste people's energy to show up to this nonsense, because they might actually be misled into believing that this is not nonsense. So what you need to do is explain, like have a lot of people listen to you about why this is total nonsense. And the reason why it's total nonsense is because there's something called the takings clause, which is the Fifth Amendment. And if Joe Biden wants to stop the evictions right now, he can do an executive order that takes all the property from all the landlords that are evicting right now and give them compensation, and then say, okay, you guys, let's stay here. Like, that's literally how easy it is. But
yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with that. And I think that's almost what I think what some of the further leftist arguments have been is like, okay, you know what, let's take this as an opportunity, like let's turn this into Occupy Congress.
No, we can't occupy Congress, because we have to teach people that Congress is bullshit. It's not, it's an organ of class power, and they're not going to do shit.
Oh yeah.
Too many Americans think that this is where the toxic ideology of American exceptionalism comes, because too many Americans think that their bourgeoisie is different. No, because the American bourgeoisie is willing to like murder everyone in villages in Guatemala to get a little bit of minerals. So there's nothing special about you that will make them follow the whatever bullshit constitution. So we can't. And unfortunately, that is like a massive delusion that exists everywhere inside of America, and there's like almost hopelessness. So everyone who's mildly leftist with the mild audience literally needs to be hammering that truth, that no, Congress does not care what you think. It is not a democracy. No matter what you perform, no matter how much you show your displeasure, it does not matter. What you have to do is figure out how to dislodge state power, and anything else, like just like a lot of Americans just think that if you show up in public a lot of times, Congress will pass measures. And no, it's not magic. No. What you need to do is literally make it like dislodging. Okay, the state. Okay, so actually, just like Google Gene Sharp and his like nonviolent revolution, and he'll tell you how the U.S. government coups in other countries, and you'll see that like every time, like when they say like peaceful protesters, of course they're not peaceful. They're like death squads that are killing like everyone, and like there's a massive like there's lots of horror going on. So, and they literally tell you what they're doing because they've written books on how they couped. So, and essentially, dislodging a state is super hard, and so I just don't approve of people. Well, okay, I'm okay if people don't know what most people don't know what they're doing. So sure, but once you know that, well, that's the thing. They'll never know. But ultimately, that's why I don't approve of this. Like the only reason why you'd want to show them that Congress should never be used as like a political like bringing people together. What it should be, and you should not bring people together if you're going to put them in danger. Don't do that. That's just dangerous. Don't do that ever. If you don't know what you're doing, like if you don't have a plan, don't do it. But it should be used to show that it's a useless. It won't do anything that is not preserving status quo. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, go ahead. Together.
I think that's the part we definitely agree on. Is that if we can maybe use that as an opportunity to show how useless Congress is, 100%.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we all know it. Yeah, I mean, like, and the thing is, they're withholding like. It's all such nonsense. I mean, there's the takings clause is all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay, so it is our direct duty to convince ourselves of every liberal question, to determine our social democratic attitude towards it, to help the proletariat to take an active part in its solution, and to accomplish the solution in its own proletarian way. Those who refrain from concerning themselves in this way, whatever their intentions, in actuality leave the liberals in command, place in their hands the political education of the workers, and concede the hegemony in the political struggle to elements which, in their final analysis, are leaders of the bourgeois democracy.
He's right about that. And one place I noticed this was and I know why people did this, the CIA would kill you, but a lot of like fake left in the during the Cold War. You can like be as left as possible, but you couldn't talk about foreign policy. And yeah, even now, a lot of like, yes, the CIA will probably kill you if you are too honest about the foreign policy. But but that itself had its thing, and look at how easy it was for them to dismantle it. So he's right in that way. And this is like, to me, that's always what I see, is like the left kind of was like, okay, in like 1948, the unions were like, okay, we'll go kill people for you in third world countries and ruin everything there. If you like let some profits trickle. That was literally the deal that the AFL-CIA did. And it's quite fucked. And that's why they stayed silent about foreign policy, and that fit them in the go ahead.
It's so often they still do. Like, you never hear anything about foreign policy.
Well, the AFL-CIA, the other day I was checking in Myanmar, they are in charge of their Solidarity Center that's doing wrecking activities for Chinese state-owned factories. So they're still the AFL, they're still embroiled with the State Department. You can't. They're the worst union in Earth, in my opinion.
The class character of the social democratic movement must not be expressed in the restriction of our task to the direct and immediate needs of the labor movement, pure and simple. It must be expressed in our leadership of every aspect and every manifestation of the great struggle for liberation that is being waged by the proletariat, the only true revolutionary class in modern society. Social democracy must constantly and unswervingly spread the influence of the labor movements to all spheres of the social and political life of contemporary society. It must lead not only the economic, but also the political struggle of the proletariat. It must never for a moment lose sight of our ultimate goal, but always carry on propaganda for the proletarian ideology. The theory of scientific socialism vis-a-vis Marxism, guard it against distortion and develop it further. We must untiringly combat any and every bourgeois ideology, regardless of the fashionable and striking garb in which it may drape itself. The socialists we have mentioned above depart from the class point of view, also because, and to the extent that, they only remain indifferent to the task of combating the criticism of Marxism. Only the blind fail to see that this criticism has taken root more rapidly in Russia than in any other country. It has been more enthusiastically taken up by Russian liberal propaganda than by any other, precisely for the reason that is one of the elements of the bourgeois, not consciously bourgeois, democracy now information in Russia.
Yeah. Oh, you have a question?
Like, it almost kind of sounds like they're trying to take any kind of criticism of Marxism. Basically, like, see, it's like that.
I don't understand.
I don't know.
No, you're probably right, but can you repeat what you said? Because
like this idea of like, we must entirely combat any and every bourgeois ideology, regardless of the fashionable and striking garb in which it almost even sounds like the way that people tend to kind of use leftist ideology and kind of water it down and fashionable.
Yeah. Actually, Lenin wrote later about like how he talked about how there's a piece. I can't remember if it's State and Revolution or Proletarian Kautsky and no, Proletarian Revolution and the Renegade Chum. Sorry. I meant
like you just see it so often. You see like these are this is something that
hold on, let me finish it. Like Proletarian Revolution and the Renegade Kautsky. I don't know why my brain had a brain freeze there. But yeah, this is exactly like they do that with, you don't even have to go to Marx. Like they do that with even MLK or Muhammad Ali, even like he's a boxer, but they're like, oh, I love Ali. But then when he's like talks about how you're my enemy is the white people, like they're like that part they're kind of like to hide, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Mandela is And it's like,
Oh my God, so critical of the U.S.
The State Department, like, what's his face, Blinken, was like, today on Mandela Day. And I'm like, dude, the State Department supported apartheid till like probably 1994 or later. They just, Mandela is one of the worst, the worst appropriate. And I remember once Nira was like, I even defended somebody when they accused Mandela of being a communist. And you're like, actually, he was a communist, you idiot.
It is particularly in regard to the political struggle that the class point of view demands that the proletariat give an impetus to every democratic movement. The political demands of working class democracy do not differ in principle from those of bourgeois democracy. They differ only in degree. In the struggle for economic emancipation, for the social revolution, the proletariat stands on a basis different in principle, and it stands alone. The small producer will come to its aid only to the extent that he enters, or is preparing to enter, its ranks.
Yeah.
So,
that's like this individual business, you know how yeah, go ahead.
In the struggle for political liberation, however, we have many allies towards whom we must not remain indifferent. But while our allies in the bourgeois democratic camp is struggling for liberal reforms, will always glance back and seek to adjust matters so that they will be able, as before, to eat well, sleep peacefully, and live merrily at other people's expense. The proletariat will march forward to the end without looking back. Well, with a conference of RNS, author of the preface to Witt's memorandum. So what is RNS?
Okay, so Whitty was this like really, he was one of the czars, I forgot, prime minister or something. Mm-hmm. So they had, it's kind of like the WikiLeaks of their day, in that somebody named RNS wrote like a markup of so Whitty's memorandum on like how to like murder a lot of people if they are getting too rebellious or something similar to that. And this guy within the Russian government, RNS, wrote like these markups, and then that was like a big scandal, and haggle with the, and so it's like, so basically it's like even if it's like a what, so in our modern day, I would say something like, even if it's like, I don't know, somebody within the State Department leaking crap to New York Times.
Okay. So while the conference of RNS haggle with the government over the rights of the authoritative Zemstvo.
That's the city councils.
Yeah. Or over a constitution, we will struggle for the democratic republic. We will not forget, however, that if we want to push,
go ahead.
We will not forget, however, that if we want to push someone forward, we must continuously keep our hands on that someone's shoulder. So we have to keep pushing them, keep pushing them.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's why it frustrates me so much about, like, oh no, what are you doing, protesting at AOC's office? Like, it's exactly AOC that we should be pushing, guys.
Yeah.
Keep your hands on their shoulders.
Oh, no.
Keep pushing them.
No, I agree. This part is the next part you're going to love even more.
The party of the proletariat must learn to catch every liberal just at the moment when he is prepared to move forward an inch, move forward a yard. Absolutely.
Make him forward a yard, like right on somebody's. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Like, oh, you want to go an inch? No. Like, oh, we want $15 minimum wage. No, we want $25.
No, we want a Lenin wage, which is $52.
Yes.
Or a $900,000 if it. Wait. How much?
Honestly, if we cut
$2,000 a year, use what the means of production were back in that time, and they were still the same means of production now, but if we take the means of production that the United States creates now, so that was $52,000 for every worker,
every human being,
$2,000 it was every worker, I guess.
Yeah.
Every worker got $52,000, but if you took that, because it was $4,000 back then, so that was $52,000 and then. But if you looked at the means of production, we'd all get $901,000 a year.
Yes. That's how much we should be asking for, not 15, not at minimum $52,000 a year should be our minimum.
That's how much money the United States makes off of their workers.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
So wait. That's like, to me, I didn't like, my mind is blown because
That's crazy.
that's like how much exploitation that, no, but the thing is, that's just exploitation just from America itself to Bezos, not like foreign third world country exploitation because, oh my God, that's obscene.
Right. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so the party of the proletariat was learned to catch every liberal just at the moment when he is prepared to move forward an inch and make him move forward a yard. If he is obdurate, we will go forward without him and over him.
So he means these boots are made for walking, and that's just what I'm gonna do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Yeah, that's what he means by like yeah.
We're doing it with you or without you, buddy.
No, you know.
So either get with us or
no. It's even worse than that because if you're not with us, we're gonna walk all over. Yeah, that. Anyways, thank you so much. And how do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at KilljoyMeg and also follow my podcast at the Killjoy Pod. You can find me on Mondays during Nerdolitics. Jackie and I have a show on Fred Hampton. It's on Fred Hampton Leftist. Jackie and I on 4:00 Eastern Standard Time each week. Yeah. We host Nerdolitics, which is a combination of nerddom and politics.
Oh my God, we should talk about Star Trek then.
Oh my gosh!
I'm thinking like, okay, so we could do Star Trek, or like my favorite sci-fis are Star Trek, Stargate, and Farscape.
Yeah, we've been talking about watching Star Trek, so we may have to do that.
Totally, I love. Oh, by the way, Chase Masterson follows me, so maybe I can get her to come too. She was Lita on Deep Space Nine.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, I know that because we've been wanting to do it because we really want to have Brianna Joy Gray on, and she's a big Star Trek fan.
Okay, so like I said, I can skip over that and get you somebody better than Brianna.
So Nerdolitics, and then the Killjoy Guide comes out every Tuesday.
What's that?
That is my podcast where I talk about feminism and kind of like my whole goal is to pop the liberal fantasy about what feminism is.
Yeah,
and kind of getting to more revolutionary feminism than kind of socialist feminism, definitely.
I should hook you up with Katie Halper if you're not hanging out like friends with her yet, because she does a lot of this. Like this is like much more up her alley than it is mine. But
I would love to do that. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, and we should do this not too distant in the future. And this is a lot of fun, and and B, I guess. Well, I hope you have the skills to cope with being in Florida.
Oh God, it's a struggle every day.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just waiting for Esha to come back on. But Esha, she just asked me a couple of minutes ago when it's going to end. So, she's around. Anyways, see, this is why I need something to talk about. Let me see. What do you guys? I think Asha had some good lines in this. I really liked when she says,
"Oh, can you hear me now?"
I can.
I am back. So, I thought I would. How do I flip this? Okay. Wonderful. You hear us both. Okay. Now I probably can't hear Janet, but I thought we might have some fun. So the first thing is, for those of you who doubt me on the Thailand issue, of course you guys don't doubt me, but if you think so, look at this. Isn't this interesting? We have the Milk Tea Alliance, the totally not racist. I mean, I don't know what to say for Milk Tea Alliance besides that it's really a weird thing to call your fascist organization. So and they are in support of this alleged Thailand protest. Let's see, are there any questions? Let's see. Do we have any I know somebody had a question. Okay, I will weigh in. I think spoons and forks are proletarian. No, chopsticks are proletarian. All Western utensils are bourgeoisie decadence. Everything should be eaten with chopsticks. Twitter, yes, that was kind of weird that they'll give this like a regime change fake hashtag. Oh, yes. Let's do the Where's Lenin? So today, let's see. Today, yeah. Today we had this for Lenin. Now we need to, every week I put on a new green screen, where we just guess where Lenin is. So no cheating. Tell me who is where he is. So, okay, I need to find the spiel to say. Each week in my background, there will be a different statue of Lenin located at a different place in the world. And this week, you should guess where this Lenin is. No cheating. And the first person who guesses kind of correctly may win a prize, like a t-shirt or a bag. So where's Lenin? Okay, we will reveal this at the right before I close. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Are there any hot takes you guys want me to address? No, not India. Yes, Lenin will always be in our hearts. Milk Tea Alliance is for real. Nope, not Laos. Hi, Connie. I think of it as an interactive experience because I try to learn from everyone. I didn't know anything going in usually. And then as I started it, I always think of it as we do it together. Sí, Ravestar nebulosa es sí, es la verdad. Está en Cuba. Yep. So congratulations, and we will figure out what to do. Yes. Janet, can you show this again, please? Okay, let's see. Do we have any more? Oh yeah, let me see if there are any questions. No, ignore her. She is utterly wrong. Remember what I said last week on Twitter? If they have not overthrown the Tsar and fought 14 countries with a bunch of peasants with nothing but a proverbial hammer and sickle and won, Do not listen to them. No, it's BS. Yes, you should be a negative Nancy because we're headed towards apocalypse. Imagine you're on the Titanic and the crew is speeding faster towards the iceberg. I mean, should you be, and you're saying we're screwed because we're on this big ship that's going to head towards the iceberg and we're all sinking. And then AOC says, okay, don't be negative Nancy's and we should celebrate small wins. Come on. What small win? Don't be a total negative Nancy. Be the most negative of all the negative Nancys. Be incredibly negative. That means you are setting high standards. And do not, if you're in power, you do not get to tell us how to feel. We're going to be super negative and we're going to put more pressure on you to be a decent human being. And of course, you know what they say, celebrate the reason why they say celebrate the small wins is because they haven't been able to give you any big wins since 1974. I don't know, whenever they ended the Vietnam War. But this is just nonsense. It's like irritating nonsense if she said this. Like, where did she say this? I'm going to have to like do an impromptu stream again to address this video because this is irritating nonsense. Let's look at all the statistics. For example, we are screwed if we can't get climate change fixed because and so, yeah, do not ever, be, okay. Obviously, this is expected. If they're not a Marxist-Leninist organization, they are not capable of withstanding the pressures of capitalism that pushes against all organizations. So think of Marxist-Leninist methodology of building an organization as a little bubble that protects you from the pressures of capitalism, from the inevitable effect that infinite money being thrown at people can have, and expect any organization that is not Marxist-Leninist to go whoosh. Some Marxist-Leninist organizations also is going to go whoosh. That's the sound of the organization being flushed down the toilet. If you did not get it. And yeah, that's basically it. And you should ignore them. Again, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say if they are not Lenin, you should ignore them, because yeah, literally everyone you should not ignore bases themselves off of Lenin's methodology. So yeah, everyone you should not ignore listens to Lenin, and anyone who doesn't listen to Lenin directly or indirectly, you should ignore. So for example, it's okay to listen to Evo Morales because he listens to Lenin. It's okay to listen to Nicolas Maduro because he listens to Lenin. Hugo Chavez is dead, but you have to watch his videos. They're great. He has this great video series on neoliberalism, and if somebody can subtitle it, it's like really the best. So anyone who doesn't directly or indirectly listen to Lenin, you need to ignore. And yeah. Okay. Does it even matter? It is in the imperial core. Really, who cares? I mean, nothing fundamentally changes here for very good reason. Sure, do whatever you want with the protest. It's it's like 3 days. Do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. I mean, what is backing the protest? Going to the protest? Yes, that's a great way to meet people and also make contacts in order to improve their political consciousness. So yeah, I guess what other ways? I guess emotionally backing, who cares? No one can read your mind. It's your mind. It doesn't it has no purpose. Financially, I would just kind of step back and be careful about which I would step back and what victory? There is no victory. What are you talking about? There is no bloody victory. People are still going to get evicted. Don't believe the hype. Actually go and follow through. And usually, as we discussed in last week's or a few weeks ago's episode, that there's always some bourgeoisie snare and last week I did an impromptu stream about like Minnesota voting against Minnesota was apparently voting to defund the police, but it was not. It was literally voting to change the name police officer to peace officer. I kid you not. Check out my stream from last Sunday. Literally not. So first of all, don't be so stupid and stop believing crap without verifying yourself. I'm not calling Matt Hodel stupid, but just like in general, don't be stupid. If they say something, it does not mean it is true. It means you need to be skeptical and be like, what's the catch? Treat it like you're going to treat a used car salesman. If somebody offers you a new Mercedes-Benz for $50, what are you going to think? Hey, you're going to want to check that out, right? So let's check it out. Make sure that is there a CD? I forgot. I don't even know what the order is, but check out who gave the order, what the order is, what is not, and kind of make a list and write an article about it so other people know about it too. No, in fact, you can get kicked out of the DSA for belonging to a Marxist-Leninist organization. That's Section 4 of their bylaws. So literally, DSA says that if you fight too hard for the rights of workers, we're going to kick you out. Not always, but I would say verify first and then later celebrate. I mean, it's like if you want to celebrate, it doesn't matter if you celebrate now or 5 years from now or never. So first verify. Well, they have not. Hold on. Can somebody Google Section 4 of the DSA bylaws and link it here? It is absolutely true. Section 4 or Section 3. It says that if you belong to a Marxist-Leninist organization, you can get kicked out. Well, this is the thing about constitutional illusions. You know what the consequence for the president totally ignoring the Supreme Court is? Absolutely nothing. So even that's a BS excuse. Does the Supreme Court control the army, the National Guard, the police, anything? No. So, I mean, really, are you gonna? That's just utter nonsense to be reactionary. And the Supreme Court is selected from 4 of the most reactionary institutes: Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Stanford, maybe. Mostly Harvard and Yale. And so the Supreme Court's going to be super insular and super reactionary. And so it's just an excuse to it just gives the bourgeoisie another chance to cancel democracy. So, yeah, even don't believe that nonsense. That's just BS. A Trotsky organization is far better than the DSA because at least they'll teach you something. Sometimes Trots can be useful, so they won't be totally stupid, but don't, yeah. Yes, this is also a great point. So the Federalist Society is this society that kind of brainwashes lawyers in order to make sure that when those lawyers become judges, they are very brainwashed, and it chooses a lot of these judges on behalf of many presidents. So it acts kind of like how Citibank vetted Obama's cabinet. Basically, the Federalist Society is like the Citibank for the Supreme Court, and I feel really horrible that I have to kind of make that analogy. Thank you. It's section 3, not section 4. Self-defined democratic centralist organization, and that is a Marxist-Leninist organization. Thank you, Biran Sundal. I love SG1. Actually, I like Atlantis more because the rates are very complicated. Because it's complicated. Okay. Let's see. Do we have anything else to say? What hyperlink? One of the mods should be able to get the hyperlink, or else I'll tweet it out later. No. Because, yeah, just no. Even that is a really terrible, shitty book that like tries to portray Stalin as a bad person for robbing a bank. Thank you. Yep, that is whenever AOC twice I've tweeted this out. Whenever AOC raises money to give to CIA agents, I'm like, go bleeping rob a bank. I mean, yeah. Oh, Anna Louise Strong is fantastic, and she's a first person, as in she's one of those like really good investigative journalists who's written everything she's written. I've been able to verify, and it's all true, and she's fantastic. Anna Louise Strong, yes. Oh, okay. I will tweet this out, but it's really a joke. Let's see. Anything else? Did we forget to talk about something? Who is Rainn Wilson? I have no idea who Rainn Wilson is. Okay, like I said, I really don't know who he is, so I might be even blocked. Okay, I haven't watched The Office, so I really don't know who he is. Let's see. I find people to be just really oh yeah, don't follow. I mean, you should. Let's see what else. All things China. Okay, just remember everything is going to lead to China. Oh yeah, ETIM, the Turkestan Liberation Terrorism Militia. They just blew up something which is an infrastructure project in Pakistan that China was building. What a weird coincidence that this keeps happening over and over. Have I forgotten anything else? I feel like I'm forgetting something very important, but I can't remember what I'm forgetting. But I feel like I'm keeping you guys on stream for no good reason, because I can't remember what I'm forgetting. Let me think. We take Gotham from the corrupt. Let me get this. Hold on. Let me get the transcript for this. Hold on, getting this line. Behind you lies. Behind you stands a symbol of oppression, Blackgate Prison, where 1,000 men have languished under this name, Harvey Dent, who has been held up to you as the shining example of justice. You have been supplied with a false idol to stop you from tearing down this corrupt city. Do you accept this man's resignation? And do you accept the resignations of all these liars, all the corrupt? We take Gotham from the corrupt, the rich, and the oppressors of generations who have kept you down with the myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you, the people. Gotham is yours. None shall interfere. Do as you please, but start by storming Blackgate Prison and freeing the oppressed. Step forward those who would serve, for an army will be raised, and the powerful will be ripped from their decadent lairs and cast out into the cold world that we know and endure. Courts will be convened, spoils will be enjoyed, blood will be shed, the police will survive as they learn to serve true justice. This great city, Gotham, it will endure. Okay, how was that? Do you guys like it or not? You guys went quiet. Okay. Yeah, I can also do a Chomsky impression, but I need to figure out how to do the vocal fry, which I has not. Oh, I know. That's what I was trying to do. Okay. How do I do it? I need to do a vocal fry, which has not been coming in the past few weeks. How do you do the I got it. A vocal fry. I got it. I need to. Okay, no, I can't get the vocal fry. I'm sorry, I've lost my vocal fry. But once I get my vocal fry back, I can totally do a Chomsky because he talks like a vocal fry. I can't do that. Yeah, see, the vocal fry is not coming to me. And I need to practice how to do the vocal fry. And once I do the vocal fry, I can do a Chomsky voice. I don't know, it's so weird. I tried to, my cousin wanted me to read the Billy Goat, and I was trying to be Billy Goat, but then I somehow ended up sounding like Bernie Sanders, and she's like, why does Billy Goat sound like Bernie Sanders? And I'm like, I don't know, that's the only voice I know besides Bane, and now I know how to do Chomsky, but I can't get that vocal fry. I'm gonna figure out how to do a vocal fry. Again, I used to be able to do it. I did it on Katie Halper's show when I did a Chomsky accent. It spontaneously came, but now I've forgotten how to do the vocal fry. So, but I will figure out how to do the vocal fry again. I think it's something you can learn. And with that, we shall. Oh, I remember what it was. Okay. Chomsky does not smoke or drink whiskey. Okay, I remember what it was. Okay, it was a really cringe take from the Young Turks again. Oh yeah, they are. Oh yeah. Oh, Cenk Uygur wants to align with the far right because he's losing a lot of subscribers, and now he's going back to his roots. Anyways, yeah, they've turned totally totally sucky. Yeah. Chomsky's power quote. I don't know what Chomsky's power quote is. It's probably stupid. Yeah. Oh, Chomsky's. Chomsky's like the most Chomsky's kind of like color. What's that? Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. It's a grammatically correct sentence, but it does not make any sense. Literally, that's half the things he says is that. He's one of the most overrated intellectuals on earth. Yeah, I mean, okay. The first of all that really irritates me is that he like the thing that he really irritates me about Chomsky. I forgot what irritates me. Everything irritates me about Chomsky. The fact that he sounds like oh, now I also remember. Anna went on an anti-homeless rant. Okay. No, you cannot, because the right wing is made to destroy unions, murder workers at the gunpoint. It's made to slit their throats and pull out their intestines and let them hang in Leningrad. Sorry, Janet. So now there is not a single thing you can align with them, because the left wing is about worker solidarity and the right wing is about basically like murdering workers who disobey, killing them, like stabbing them in the eye, like whatever, like every horrible thing. Okay. Yes, Chomsky's the second author. Oh, power is illegitimate. Okay, that's bullshit. Yes. Oh yeah, now I remember his power. Okay, it's really, really stupid and bullshit, and it's because he's an anarchist and he's not 12. But he acts like he's 12. And it's like, okay. Yes, all of them are American supremacists. All of them are horrible. Let me see. Did I forget anything else? Yeah. The right wing, you cannot ever align. Okay. Okay. So the thing about aligning with the right wing is that if you live in society, you will have horribly reactionary, stupid, maybe even murderous ideals, because you live in a society that spits out horrible, stupid, and super murderous ideals, right? Yeah. So the point is that you don't accede to a worker's, like people's really stupid, horrible, genocidal, murderous tendencies. You have to elevate their consciousness to your level. So, for example, I mean, what you realize is that the individual has very little, no matter what they say about an individual, they have actually like very little, the state does a lot to shape your destiny. One example I can give you is East Germany. What's the difference between East Germans and West Germans? Absolutely nothing, except for the state. And East Germans became the best Nazi killers. They they like killed a lot of Nazis and kind of, I mean, they did what none of it, like they did the impossible, is build a state with over 80% of psychotic genocidal murderers. And they somehow were able to stop them from being psychotic genocidal murderers. So I appreciate them more than anything. And then you will realize that the state apparatus has such a big role in manufacturing consent and coercion. So you cannot accede to the level of somebody brainwashed by the stupid bourgeoisie genocidal state. What you need to do is to build their consciousness up. And a lot of things you can build their consciousness. For example, when people think immigrants steal their jobs, guess what? You show them Lenin's piece on capitalism and immigration, and it shows you how the bourgeoisie underpay and then like commit war in this country and then bring immigrants over so that they can pay you less and so on. And that's why you need theory, because you cannot learn all this on your own when the state is controlling you. So it's like you're trying to build a little bubble from the state. And that's why you should read Lenin. And that's why I'm so obsessed about making everyone read Lenin. Okay, let's see. Inventing reality, that is what Michael Parenti wrote. And that is a total... Oh, my favorite Virgin versus Chad is Chomsky's like, Antifa is a gift to the Antifa is a right... Antifa is a gift to the right wing. And Michael Parenti got arrested for beating up a cop. Okay. Who is this we? What do you mean distract? You mean flying them to Washington, setting them up in West Germany, and building an intercontinental death squad to murder millions? Okay. Good. I love Parenti. Yeah, I have it tweeted out. Just Google Virgin Chomsky versus Chad Parenti on my Twitter. Just search it. And, well, Michael Parenti is like a dad. He's like a parent you wish you could have. Yeah. Is this a stupid Chomsky quote? Okay. Exactly. Basically, that's it. And then they aligned with the colonizers and the colonizers. I mean, there's a lot of things, but yeah, basically. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hopefully I'll be back on TikTok in the morning. If not, we will have a Soviet summers either Monday or Wednesday. We're still working. Oh, yeah. The Parenti. Yeah. You know what also gets me? Parenti's Yugoslavia clip. Oh, God. He starts with Yugoslavia. Started off with an idea. And then he goes on and on. He starts with Yugoslavia began as an idea that we Slavic people don't have to be slaves to the West anymore if we just bind together and build a society. And then by the end, they talk about how they dismantled Yugoslavia, and they're just like, you're crying, and then you're feeling patriotic for a country that has not existed in 30 years, that you've never visited. And yeah. Like those are the two clips that always, his Yugoslavia video, I can't watch it without like bawling out in tears. And it always gets me. And I mean, like, he's a great orator in the fact that he can make you cry about a country that has not existed in 30 years. Oh my God, that was such BS, because he is such a, yeah, literally the best thing for the worker was around the world was the Soviet Union. Everyone's been worse. Like, I can tell you, India, for example, would not have gotten the BJP if the Soviet Union had stayed, because the Soviet Union was giving India like a non-IMF loans, and then the IMF forced India to privatize everything in 1990. Actually, we covered this in the stream with Josephine. And so, yes. We haven't had a raise since 2008. So yeah, Chomsky's full of shit in that, and he is a cold warrior, and he also shits on Lenin, and he's kind of racist too. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. So oh yeah, we're gonna have to put this back up because our stream got shut down in the middle for copyright violations. So we'll put this up in the morning and we'll fix all these things. So apologies. And with that, okay. Wait, Connie, what do you cry about? I'm sorry, Jennifer. Are you? I'm confused. Okay, I hope you're okay. I might be getting something confused. Okay. I wrote an article about a year ago about where I went live. I went minute by minute on Hiroshima. It was terrible. Okay, with that, well, thank you for watching. And so what's going to happen is that since I'm going to be... Oh, if they're in the US, there's like a 99.99% chance they were probably the Ushtazi. Sorry. Like literally 99.99% chance that they're probably the Ushtazi, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, but I will try to do some impromptu streams. We will get to the liberal fake outrage on Orban and Hungary and that nonsense. It's just irritating. And all these Hungary understanders or Hungary Magyar okay, absolutely Ushtazi, no doubt. And if you have a friend who lives in Croatia right now, give them the last name and usually they can search out. I would not consider it's complicated. Whiteness does not translate to Yugoslavia. What would you like to learn more about? We may be able to have an episode. I interviewed Nemanja Lukic about 2 weeks ago on imperialism. We touched a little bit on Yugoslavia, but he explains like why he became interested in anti-imperialism. I guess having your house bombed by NATO kind of makes you anti-imperialist, of course. But if it's Yugoslavia, I have also interviewed Katrina Pijovic about 2 years ago on Croatia. So yes, what would you guys like to know more about Yugoslavia? Maybe I can figure out who to interview. I've really been wanting to do an episode on Enver Hoxha too, but I don't know who to interview, and I've tried like emailing his son and I have not gotten any responses. Enver was great. He was the best. No, because that debate is not for white people. It is for people who come from actual existing socialism. So you need to build Marxism before you can revise it. So no, that debate is not going to be happening for people in the imperial core. You need to let people who are in actual existing socialism have that debate. Who had a Scandinavian name? Me too. That's why I want to interview somebody who can tell me more. The hardest part is the Dunning-Kruger problem. Because I'm an anti-imperialist and my podcast is anti-imperialism comes first. I was not a tanky. I was just an anti-imperialist. I wanted a decolonial podcast. And then life leads you towards the tanks. But that's the catch-22 is if you don't know anything about a subject, how do you know who to interview who won't be an imperial shill? So I have to do so much work to even figure out who to interview to make sure you guys get the decolonial history as opposed to the imperial shill history. So that's where the catch-22 for me comes too. Like about a month ago, somebody asked me about Myanmar, and tonight, actually, or tomorrow morning, I will be releasing a two-parter. One would be with Angelo Giuliano, and the other is Brian Berletich. And it took me about a month of hardcore reading. No, that is the entire catch-22. When you don't know any, for me too, literally, this is the catch-22, and that's why I have to, like, sometimes I don't weigh in, and I have to wait 6 months or whatever, because I can't really interview somebody until I know that they're not an imperial show. But because of the propaganda, it's really, really, really hard. So I don't understand what to do. And often this is the biggest impediment, the chicken and the egg thing, where you need to know about a subject in order to know who not to trust and who is an imperial show. So it's very, very confusing, and it takes a long time. You have to do. Last July, we spoke about the counter-revolution of 1776. Right now, I am reading White Supremacy Confronted, so I will have him back on. And I'm also reading Bittersweet Science, his really cool book about boxing. So I'm definitely having him back on. I don't know what you mean by turns on an issue. You should be able, if somebody's a comrade, you should be able to, they should subscribe to Marxist Leninism. And so you should be able to discuss it and give in a calm manner. And if you have enough time and they're good faith, you guys will be able to figure out what is the best way to help the proletariat in that issue. So unless you mean opportunism, well, basically any elected official who's not constantly for example, anyone don't trust any elected official who keeps secrets from you, because they should not. AOC had a secret, by AOC I mean AOC and the Four had secret negotiations with Nancy Pelosi. They kept a secret from you. You can't trust them if they do that. You should be in on those secrets, and they need to betray Nancy Pelosi and screw their careers and even their lives if that is meant to be. But anyone who has a keep secrets from you is not a comrade. No, there is no left, because none of us have joined an organization and agreed to fight together as one. So random people on YouTube is not the left. And I only argue with people when they turn into imperial shows. Otherwise, I'm quiet. I don't even care about the stupidity. Like if they lie about Syria or turn into some imperial show, I interject, because that's the one thing I can't tolerate. But other than that, if it's a domestic matter, it's because nothing changes in the imperial core, just because that's how the imperial core works, is that it's the hardest to change things. So you kind of have to, the best you can do is, no, you shouldn't trust anyone except Lenin. And with Lenin, you understand the method of dialectical materialism. Then you have to have faith in yourself. If given enough time and patience, you'll be able to understand any issue. And give yourself some time. Have faith in yourself for that one thing. That given enough time, and study, you will be able to understand an issue. And that's so trust yourself, have faith in yourself. Once you do that, just take a deep breath and take however long it takes for you to understand what's going on. And if you're on the side of the worker, it becomes obvious. That's boring. It's a book about farm animals. it's a fiction. I don't there's nothing to debunk about fiction, no books about farm animals. Ew. 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 I'm not a Star Wars fan. Ew. I hate Star Wars. I'm a Star Trek fan. So let's see. Who's my favorite character on Star Trek? Well, each one I have a different favorite character. That's fine. Have faith in yourself and be all by yourself. Well, sure. I mean, it's hard. Or you could just kind of try to... Yeah, I don't like that comparison. I'm not data. Why don't I like it? I don't know why. I just don't like it. And do not compare me to Janeway. That will... let's see. Anyways... Well, I would love to. If it's, remember my rule about famous people, unless you can get them on, do not suggest them. So, yeah, like the worst I really hate is like, you should get Ahmadinejad on your podcast. I'm like, yes, if I can get the president of Iran, I would totally have done it already. So unless you can get them on my show on my behalf because you have some personal inside track or you Twitter, I don't know how it works, please don't suggest random people. Like random famous people. But if you have like a cousin who knows a lot about Albania or something and you want to suggest them, that would be cool. So if it's not a famous person that you want me to check out because they know something about a topic that you think would be good for our community, please suggest them, but do not suggest them unless you know how to get in contact with them. And do not, any famous person, unless you personally you have an inside track, do not suggest them. Anyways, yeah, I really hate it when they do that. It's like, yes, I will have you should interview Bashar al-Assad. It's like, yes, I would, but the president of Syria does not answer my email. So unless you can get him on, we're out of luck. Yes, I know Lee Camp. Yes, I know Lee Camp. Did William Shatner die? No, you have to do all this work. So I will, if it's a famous person, I will not do any work besides scheduling. So you have to send them an email. You have to figure out how to connect with them. You have to get them to agree. You have to go through Lee Camp's contact with whatever. And yeah, I do not. Yeah, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry about that. With that, I will end the stream of Witterzin. And oh yeah, be sure to hit like, subscribe, please donate. Go to historically.substack.com. And with that, auf Wiedersehen. Though I hate that grading, I need to figure something out.